Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. This is Michael with Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Let's get to the screens. And here's our heat map. When it's doubted if we have a little bit of a pullback, market was strong a couple of days in a row. We got a little bit of a pullback in healthcare, communication services, consumer defensive. Amazon's down a little bit. Tesla's up big. Apple is pretty flat, and Microsoft is down. Financials are down, and their energy is kind of popping. So that's what we got there. Let's take a look. Share our screen again. Here's our annuity. As I continue to say, 85% of people should be in an annuity. You never lose money. It goes up a step, goes up a step, does not come down. Average annuity beats index investing by about 5%. Index investing can lose money, bobs and weaves of the market. Annuities give you bonuses on any new money coming in. Right now, I believe they have about a 40% bonus. How long that lasts, I don't know, with treasury bond yields kind of collapsing, but that's the story. Let's go to our screen. This is super microcomputer gapping up today, up 10%. Do we get back in there? That's a good question. Let's look at the dollar. Dollar gaps down again. Let's switch to weekly. Down to its 20-day moving average. Gold continues a strong move, gaps up, is on the low for the moment. Silver gaps up. We doubled our position in silver. Said when it showed recovery, gapped up. We doubled our position in Arrow copper. Finally hit bottom. Took a position when it got above its 50-day moving average, and we doubled our position this morning. It's up another 10%. Here's Southern Copper. Yeah, look at that nice big move, gap up on its high. FCX, Freeport-McMoRan, doing the same thing. 7.29% up. Vale gapping up on its low right now. Rio gapping up. Remember, we said it had a 5%, over a 5% dividend. And BHP gapping up as well. It's pretty strong here. Let's see if we can find out if this is any yield. Cash flow, debt management, PE ratio. I just don't see any. Oh, here's the yield, 5.1%. And yield is only 1.4% on Freeport-McMoRan. I don't think there is any yield on Arrow. Yeah, none. So there you have that. Let's look at the bond yields. Markets are off a little bit this morning. We'll take a look at them shortly. Bond yields continue to collapse, much like the dollar, down another 2.5% today. 20-year doing about the same thing, down to 3.1. And this is now below 4%. So there you go. Let's take a look at the VIX. VIX is popping up. That's positive. It's not good when there's no fear at all on the market. It's up almost 2%. S&P 500 tried to move higher, pulled back. It's pretty flat. The equal weight is gapping up. That's a good sign. And take a look at, apparently this one is not taking any more investors. I tried to get in yesterday, so took a position in Fang Yu. Got a little bit of a pullback here. So that's like NASDAQ tried to move higher. The equal weight did move higher, gapped up and moved up. The Russell, look at that. Look at that massive gap up. It's on the low, but it's up 2.2% today. Dow Jones up 0.12. So let's take a look at some of our ETFs. Financials gapping up today. Energy, I would assume, would be the same, gapping up, bouncing off of its 10-day moving average. So this is a huge gap up in oil prices. I believe this is a triple or double on oil. I remember back 2000 was right around $10, kind of doubled, and wish I had hung on to it. Here's our IBB Biotech, big gap up, 2 days in a row. Real estate index gapping up. Looks like it's trying to get out of the blue box. Technology, got a slight pullback there. Software is pulling back to the 10-day moving average. Look at this. Airlines are moving up. Southwest got a little bit of a bounce. And Ryanair is a leader. Up, up, up. So our semiconductor is up slightly. We'll look at Intel in a little bit. The news, they got some AI chips coming out. It is on the bottom. It did gap up, but it is kind of selling off here. Up close to 1%. Our infrastructure is moving up as well, gap up and strong move there. Industrials gapping up, moving higher. Out of the office, leisure gapping up, continued to move on the right side of its base, up 2.5%. Building materials gapping up surely into the blue buy zone here. Metals and mining, look at that nice gap up. pretty strong in the top 75%. XH home builders super strong with bond yields continuing to fall. And we'll take a look at Ionic right at the top. Ionic, we discussed a little bit yesterday. Here we got this nice tight shelf, and it's gapping up out of that shelf today. It might be worth taking a little bit of buy in that area, see if it continues up. Commercial, industrial, academic applications for quantum computers. All right, let's go to the news. World oil demand will rise faster than expected next year, the International Energy IEA said on Thursday, saying it would. World consumption will rise 1.1 million barrels per day in 2024, up 130,000 barrels per day from its previous forecast, citing an improvement in the outlook of the United States and lower oil prices. The bull-bear spread in American Association of Individual Investors, AAII, weekly survey was 32 versus 19.9. Last week, bulls rise to 51.3 from 47.3. Neutrals rise to 29.4 from 25.3. Bears fall to 19.3 from 27.4. The 10-year Treasury yield hits a low of 3.932%, lowest since July 31st, last down 8 BPS to 3.95, while the 2-year yield tumbles to 16 basis points to 4.32%. On to sector news, Alaska Air said it sees core capacity and revenue at high end of guidance and amid strong holiday travel demand, raised its revenue guidance to growth of about 2.25% to 3.25% from prior guidance up 1% to 4%. It expects capacity measured in available seat miles to be up 13 to 14%. So it did not come up when I wanted to. There we go. Tried to move higher and then is pulling back. Toll Brothers board of directors has approved a new 20 million share repurchase authorization to replace its existing authorization. And yes, it zooms up into the profit-taking zone, up 7%. Energy, industrials, and materials. Berkshire Hathaway acquired nearly 10.5 million shares of Occidental Petroleum so far this week to about 588.7 million, according to an SEC filing. And we got a big gap up in Occidental Petroleum. Could be combined with Berkshire Hathaway buying plus the move in oil prices. Cenovus Energy forecasts total upstream production in range of 770,000 to 810,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day, compared to 775 to 795,000. And it is gapping up on the news, up 2%. Commercial Metals Company said beginning with its first quarter fiscal 2024, company will report financial results reflecting a realigned reporting structure with 3 reportable segments: North American Steel Group, Europe Steel Group, and Emerging Business Group. And it tried to move higher and then sold off. Mueller Water Systems. Quarter 4 adjusted EPS 19 cents versus estimate of 14 cents. No, I believe I did have it right. There we go. Huge move up 4% today. Volume is pretty strong 2 days in a row. Earnings up 90% in the latest quarter. earnings surprise of 37%. Nordson, not to be confused with Nordstrom, up big today on quarter four adjusted EPS, $2.46 versus estimate $2.39, and pretty good volume. Earnings only up 1%. On to financials, Discover Financial Services said credit card charge-off rate 1.7% in November and versus 2.09 in October. And their stock is moving up on the news. Green Dot downgraded to underweight from equal weight at Barclays, and the stock moves slightly up. Initially sold off and then bounced. Biogen is up today, said with Sage Therapeutics, which is slightly down, announced Zurzuvae Zuranolone 50 milligram CIV is now available by prescription for the treatment of postpartum depression for adults in the U.S. with product already at specialty pharmacy and delivered to patients. Moderna, we looked at them yesterday, and Merck announced follow-up data from phase 2B randomized Keynote 942 mRNA 4157 P201 study clinical trial evaluating mRNA 4157 V940 in combination with Keytruda. Merck anti-PD-1 therapy reduced the risk of death or relapse in patients with resected high-risk melanoma. Moderna gapped up and then sold off. And let's see what Merck did. Merck is down 1.25%. Ocular Therapeutics, 30.8 million share spot secondary priced at 3.25. People do not like dilution, so it's down 16.37%. Technology, media, and telecom. Adobe, quarter four adjusted EPS 427 versus estimate 414, and a gap down. Actually sold off yesterday and it is gapping down today. Alibaba invested additional 634 million in Singapore-based e-commerce subsidiary Lazada. The Nikkei reported late yesterday Lazada issued a placement of stock to Alibaba's Singapore subsidiary, and Alibaba is up 1.25%. And finally, Amtech Systems Inc. said it sees quarter one revenue in range of 21 to 24 million, down from quarter four revenues of 27.7. Huge gap down, 31%. Yes, volume increase 6,560%. Everybody can't wait to get out of this one. So if you've been in this one, I'm sorry, but it had been trending down. Should have seen the signs once it fell below the 50, 10 and 20-day moving averages. So there you go. And let's take a look where financial money managers are moving today. Bank of the Ozark continues to get bid up really strong. Volume is higher than yesterday. In the profit-taking zone, up another 6.4%. Top build gaps up. Massive move up 11.36%. Zillow Group gapping up. Strong buying volume the last 3 days. You had clues over here, here, and here. Carvana has been constantly being bought up as it builds on the right side. Volume was really low on any sales. High on buys. You look at the volume just increasing. Zillow Group also moving up here. Brazil in the news again. Financial brokerage gaps up today. Huge volume yesterday, and it continues today. Shark Ninja, this IPO, continues to get bought up. Where would have been a good buy point? I believe this day right here. Anything 46.70. Live Nation Entertainment. Looks like it's breaking out today. 3 days of pretty good volume. Relative strength line is going up. Wayfair is again being bought up today. Huge buying over here, and it gaps up today, up almost 11%. And finally, Wintrust Financial gaps up. See what is moving down. APLS. Apellis Pharmaceuticals gaps down 22%. We looked at Adobe. Gallagher down 7.33%. Property manager. Microsoft 1.5% leverage buy of Microsoft is down. We've got a little bit of a pullback. Exelon energy distributor moving down 6% today. The short and ARC is moving down pretty big, down 2.5%. Health equity continues to hemorrhage, down 7%. ABM Industries had a huge gap up, and now people are taking their profits. It's trying to fill the gap. We'll see if it does. 10.7%. Amarin down 6.5% today. And finally, LPL Financial Holdings had been doing well during the pandemic, but now it is heading down. Doesn't look good. It's under its 50-day moving average, and now it's below the 200-day moving average. And as I've said many times, nothing good happens under the 200-day. Let's see if we can go take a look. At our Intel news. Intel introduced its latest processors optimized for artificial intelligence in data centers and on personal computers. Intel's new processors will compete with advanced micro devices and NVIDIA. At its AI Everywhere event in New York City, Intel executives unveiled its 5th generation Intel Xeon processors for data centers. It also had a Gaudi 3 AI accelerator arriving on schedule this year, or actually next year. They also introduced the Intel Core Ultra mobile processors for AI acceleration. And has middling kind of composite rating. So we'll just kind of see how it goes here. And it does have a yield as a 1.1% dividend yield. earnings are supposed to be down 42% this year and up 102% next year. So that's the news on Intel. CrowdStrike, investor really likes. Mark Minervini said he really likes the setup. He thinks some of the best setups are yet to come in the market. So there we go. This podcast, if you'd like to look for it, is on YouTube. And let's go back. So let's take a look at Tesla. It's a big mover in FANG today. Is it breaking out? That's a big question. It's getting over these levels. So definitely hasn't come up to the breakout area here. It might be an early breakout. If you draw the line over here, it definitely is trending above that. Might be worth investing in a call option at maybe 245 or 250, depending where you want to look at it. And let's take a look. And it looks like some of the beleaguered solar stocks are kind of rising. Let's take a look at them. Sunrun is gapping up today, up 18%. Yeah, that'll get your attention. Look at the volume over here. First Solar, up 8.4%. Solar Edge is up 14%. This is a recent IPO, Next Tracker, up 6.9%. And Array Technologies is up 4.31%. See if we got anything else of interest. So that's that on the solar stock. And let's take a look at Rivian. Rivian is up about 11% today. Breaks above key levels here. You might want to take a shot at this. I think analysts raised the price to 25. And let's see it. Dogs of the Dow, the worst performing companies are called the dogs of the Dow. Let's take analysts think they're going to be a good investment. Let's take a look at Altria Group, gapping up on the news, 0.61%. Walgreens Boots Alliance, gapping up as well, up close to 3%. Verizon Communication moving up as well, and AT&T moving up. Okay, let's head around Netflix. It's selling off today. Google tried to get up to its 50-day moving average, and that's where traders really hit it. Meta is pulling back slightly today, but it looks like it's bouncing off of its 10 and 20-day moving average. Microsoft tried to move higher, and big sell-off there as well. Nvidia holding right there in the balance. Apple tried to move higher and sold off. And I already looked at Netflix. I wanted to look at Amazon. Tried to move higher and sold off as well. So let's take a look at some of the issues that we've been focusing on. BLTE pulls back to its 10-day moving average and is bouncing a little bit here, off 2%. As we said, we had taken 60% off the table. We totally got out of the GLSI position, and sure enough, it is bouncing off of the 20-day moving average, up 6.22% today. Maybe I should have added. We looked at Meta. Zscaler continues to move up 0.14%. We talked about it at 177.50. CrowdStrike, which Mark Minervini really likes. It's up 100 points since we first talked about it. That's a nice move. Let's go to Kava. Kava is pulling back a little bit. Went up to 41.30 yesterday. Was a couple of days ago at 31.85. I believe it got a $46 price target from one of the analysts covering it. GitLab bounced into the buy zone. We'll just have to kind of see where it goes, and kind of pulled back. It's off 0.15%. We bought it at 51. Bought a call option at 51, and it has moved up precipitously. Let's look at Samsara. We bought call option at 25, right over in this area, this bookshelf pattern, and it went up. It's up to like 35. Very nice. Went up to 36 something yesterday. And Denison Mines kind of sold off earlier today, and then I was bouncing above its 20-day moving average. We'll continue to watch that. Arrow. We'll see how far this can travel. Silver. See if this can get up here again. It kind of gets up to this area. Recommend taking profits, and then it pulls back again to sell 10%, and then buy 15% if it comes back into this area. Let's see what else we're missing on our review right now. Oh yeah, ARM. Bought it right over the call option right over here. And it is definitely breaking out right now. It's up about 7%. Look at ELF. Got a little bit of pullback. 0.44%. Got a nice cup base here. Continue, got this buying over here. Bought it around 120, the call option. Got a big volume yesterday. Relative strength just keeps climbing. It's not at a high yet. So I think it needs to go up a little bit more. It's beating 97% of all companies listed on the market. You can go back here on a weekly basis and just look at this thing go, go, go. Initially broke out, I guess, around 30, 31.82, 34.63, somewhere in there. It's gone from 30, let's see, go from the low of 23 to 142. See if there's anything else that I want to cover before we sign off here. We looked at Tesla, GitLab, Samsara. I think we covered everything. Well, that's Mornings with Michael for today. Keep working on your goals and your activities to achieve them. We'll be here to support you in any way we can. If you have any financial goals you'd like to discuss, please get in touch with us or send us a note. In the meantime, hope you have a great Thursday. Go out there and amaze yourself.